Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fnac Comic Chaos. I am your host, Silver1, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Ian Waffles. Ian, say hi.
Hello.
Yeah, I always love to start with an impenetrable reference 2 seconds into a podcast. That's pretty good. But that's because we are here talking about, by your demand, the people demanded this, and, we are always happy to deliver, the Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, guys, look, I gotta be real with you. The Fnac thing was fun. We got to kill it now. Because we're going to have to say this motherfucker's name a lot throughout this episode. And if every time I have to remember, as I'm looking at the word Fang, to say Fnac, it's going to kill someone. Maybe Ian. But
I thought you were going to commit to the bit, so I'm kind of disappointed.
You thought I was going to commit to the bit?
Yeah. And I'm kind of sad. I think my energy is going to be pretty low this episode.
Oh.
You could fix that, though, by committing to your stupid bit.
Okay, fine. Scrap all that.
Let's do it. I take
it back. All right. He's Fnac now and forever.
Yes! Yes!
If anyone ever wondered if we, script these, if there's any plan when we go into these, this should pretty thoroughly answer the question.
Which is that we are amazing liars.
But what?
Because we do script them.
Oh, of course. But
oh boy.
Anyway,
I hope the person who said that one time on that one review that my laugh was annoying, I hope I fixed it. I'm sorry.
I actually I have it on good authority from someone who listened to this podcast that my laugh is cute. It was my girlfriend, so it was probably a lie. But
I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say.
What were you gonna say, Ian?
I was just gonna be like, well, damn, why didn't they say my laugh was nice? Am I not sexy enough? But it's okay.
Anyway,
do I not have a sexy, cute laugh? Oh well.
I mean, I think you do.
Dude, I can't believe it. We're gonna find out this episode. Rank in the comments which of us has a better laugh.
Sure.
Okay.
There's only 2 of us. It's not really much of a ranking.
That makes the fallout even worse. Because there's a definitive winner and loser. It's not like, oh, you're like 3rd place out of 100. That's pretty good.
It's not like ranked choice voting where it's like, yeah, you got the most 2nd places, so you win because not anyone got a majority of 1st place. It's like, nah, unless there's like a secret,
the worst one.
Unless there's like a secret 3rd option that I don't know about.
The 3rd option is to abstain.
I did have this episode's never gonna fucking start, which is good because this is gonna take us like 10 minutes to talk about. I have in the past thought of the idea of doing a bit about us like having an intern, but it's like what's the joke there? Just that like we have like whenever I say like future me,
like,
edit
I'm looking
this
at
out.
The studio audience right now, and our intern is saying stop talking.
Stop talking. Yeah. Anyway, Ian and Ace, read your comments, I think.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, from Maui 2318. These 2 have great rapport, and I'm looking forward to more in the future. Well, thank you.
Yeah, I saw that comment. Very nice of you. Thank you.
Yeah. This is a question I have for you both. Do you think we will ever get a new Echidna or Tikal to appear in the Sonic IDW comics in the future? After the Penders debacle has reduced Knuckles and the Echidnas in general to a no-fly zone.
You can go first.
I think we'll definitely see Tikal again. I wouldn't be surprised. Like maybe not in IDW, but like I wouldn't be surprised at all if she's like a DLC character in Crossworlds or something. I mean, if you want to get really technical and nerdy about it, she was in that Sonic Frontiers Knuckles Prelude thing as a glowing ball. So I think Tikal. I don't know if Tikal will ever show up meaningfully again, or at least in the near future. But I think you'll see Tikal. New Echidnas. I don't think so. Not even necessarily because of Penders, but I think like what do you do with that? Like the whole point of Knuckles is that he's like the last Echidna, and so if you are going to do like we're bringing Echidnas back, you need to have like a good reason for it. And also we did that already with like Chronicles, which is like dubiously canon.
Yeah.
So in short, I think Tikal will appear in some form, and I don't think we'll get any new Echidnas. Ian, what about you?
My answer is that I So mine's kind of like a boring answer in concept, but I think it will make sense, which is that I think, yes, we will, like, down the line. I just think, like, because it is a big thing of, like, has Pender screwed us over, like, permanently, you know? Like, are we never gonna get a Echidnas? And I do think we will one day, like, genuinely. Like, I do think, like, down the line, they will want to pull into that bag again, whether because it's, like, relevant or, like, they just have a story for it. And Ian Flynn's working on the series. I think he's probably always begging to tell some story with Knuckles. Whether or not they're, like, a character who exists in the present, probably not. I think they would always probably want to keep that the same for Knuckles. But as far as, like, exploring his past and, like, doing something with that, I think that is very possible. And I would more than welcome it. So I do think long term they will probably try something with the Echidnas. But I do think it is a very real fear that, like, they're just never going to give them anything, are they? And as far as Tikal, I think she'll definitely come back someday.
Oh, certainly. Isn't Knuckles Ian Flynn's favorite Sonic character? Am I remembering that right?
Yes. At least unless he's changed his opinion. But yeah, he's always been his favorite. So
that's cool. Because it's always interesting to think about, like, pardon?
I feel like you can tell a lot with how he writes them in, like, Reboot and stuff.
For sure. Yeah, it's interesting because, like, obviously Ian Flynn has been the shepherd of, like, a lot of Sonic projects, so it's always interesting to, like, know that, like, well, he is a person with his own, like, preferences. So it's interesting to see where those do or do not seep into things.
Well, it's always very funny when he came on to Archie, his least favorite character was Sonic.
I mean, yeah, Sonic kind of sucked for a lot.
Yeah, I know, but it's just very funny. I think that, to me, that shows how good of a writer he is. That, to me, his pre-boot version of Sonic is kind of like, it's the most respect you could give that version of the character, especially, like, early on too. Like, because he said eventually he came to really like him, because he found reasons to like him. He found ways that, like, he's like, okay, well, why would this be an engaging character, right? And then he kind of leaned into that. But I think that just kind of goes to show from a writing perspective of, like, yeah, like, he comes into every story. At least back then, and I think I firmly believe he still kind of works this way, is that he comes in every story trying to find what is there to love about this thing, you know, and trying to give that to the audience, for better or worse, I would say. Because I would say nowadays where I don't really enjoy that is, like, the song references, right? Right. But that's kind of always the funny thing about it, is that it doesn't come from a place of malice or whatever, or just, like, trying to, or laziness even. It comes from a place of, like, he genuinely knows that there are fans who like this, and while I think, like, there's better ways to do it, it does come up from a place of, like, yeah, like, I want to give the fans what they want, you know, for better or worse, right? So, man.
Well, it's also interesting when you look at, like, he made a whole arc where his favorite character turns evil and kills his dad. So it's like,
well, and even in that arc, he said, like, he's like, Locke is awful, right? But he's like, but you don't want to just throw the character out as if they're disposable. Like, okay, he's evil, there's nothing to it. He's like, no, I looked at the character and I saw, like, what are the nuances that is there? Like, what is the story that this character would probably be useful to tell? And he's like, well, at the end of the day, you know, this, and this, and then that's how we got the really cool ending we got for that character. So, you know, even for that character that he really could have just been like, and then, I don't know, he fucking dies. He wanted to give it some heart and some soul to be like, no, this is an actual character and there's a reason you should care about them.
Yeah, he tripped on a rock and fell down a well and he was never seen again. But
fell down the stairs, Zoro, she's dead.
What?
It's a One Piece reference. It's fine.
Okay. From these fucking names, you people. From, well, okay, you tell me how I'm supposed to pronounce this. Dontae. Is that Dante? Is that Dante? What is that?
It's Dante. I decided it.
Okay, it's Dante. And now we can officially say if it's wrong, it's Ian's fault.
Yes.
He decided it. From Dante 5335. Did you hear it's possible that Sally might return the new Sonic Blitz game? That's cool.
I did. You did. Did you not know about this?
I did. I saw some stuff. We haven't seen, like, any, like, designs for
insider trading, huh?
What?
Yeah, you have inside knowledge. You said you heard some stuff. You're like, oh.
Well, it was on Twitter.
Oh.
Do you have insider knowledge?
No. Bit abort.
No, I don't think we've seen any, like, art or anything. And to be fair, the art for that game is not. I mean, it's not bad. It's just, like, renders where it's like, I feel like the appeal from, like, a card game, because I'm not a big card game fan, but so the appeal to it for me would be like, oh, at least we can maybe see, like, some cool art on these cards.
Yeah.
like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh fans, like that's a big thing they like about it, is that like every card is like its own cool piece of artwork on it.
Yeah, art piece. Yeah. That's kind of my thing, where it's like I will only care about this if we get new art. Because think about it, if we get new art of the Freedom Fighters in current year 2025 or 2026, whenever it comes out, like that is a big deal, you know?
For sure.
That means they had to like pay someone and put like Sally Acorn art, and Izuka had to like sign it with gritted teeth. That's awesome. So.
I think Nebrock, I think that's how you say it. Again, I can't pronounce names. Put out like a tweet around the time that Sonic Blitz got like revealed, where he was like, no, I think he did like his own like knowing smile tweet or something. So I'm sure they got a hold of him.
Oh.
Yeah. So
if that's the case, that's amazing. Like I will genuinely love that. So
that's cool. I think so. I don't quote me on this. But from what I understand, Sega does own the Freedom Fighters, full stop.
Yes. Yep.
So
no
it's
question.
kind of a no duh that like if you're gonna make a big, you know, probably freemium game where you have all the characters, like I don't know if I've ever said this on air, but like I think I've said in certain circles, like when will the Freedom Fighters come back? Whenever our nostalgia becomes profitable. So
it's a good point.
It makes sense to put them in there, but I've heard if they did put them in there, they would have to give them new designs because
good.
like the designs. Pardon?
Yeah, I mean, good. I mean, they're new.
So no, for sure. So yeah. I mean, I probably won't play the game because I don't play card games, but I will definitely observe.
I will definitely Control S the art.
Yeah, for sure. I will. You know, any new Freedom Fighter content is welcome, especially if it's content like that where like we'll introduce new people to the characters but has no chance of like character assassinating them. That's pretty good.
Well, and like I just really like it because it means all the people who for years have been saying like you just gotta, like maliciously so, like, oh, the Freedom Fighters, you just gotta give up on them, they're never coming back. That means that all the people who have fought for them all these years get to be annoying for the rest of existence, and I think that's funny. So
that's funny. Also, like, we're literally about to read a full comic series starring the hooligans from Sonic the Fighters. So, like, you know,
Fnac himself is here.
Fnac himself. Yeah. So, yes, like we did see that. To answer your question, from Cordell Cordell the Rack, or Cordell. You know what? We're just gonna stick with the first one I said.
I give up. I quit.
Headcanon, the characters can read the speech bubbles, and this was, I believe, because of the episode it was on, in relation to our ongoing debate of how is Moebius pronounced. I think what they're saying is like it's pronounced the same, but people can see that it's spelled differently.
Spelled different, yeah. So like they can see the out of lore reason. That's funny. I like that.
Yeah.
And then did you see Kent posted on Twitter where they had like a new Sonic Speed Battle outfit and it was like a cowboy Knuckles, and he's like, thanks guys for the shout out to Future Knuckles.
Yeah, I saw that.
I love him.
I love him too. It's like, Ken, you did not invent Knuckles wearing a hat. I hate to break it to you.
Well, he knows the hat's not his, but he thinks like the cowboy like thing that he obviously spun off it, which is like, yeah, like he looks like he's kind of, I mean, it looks like a cowboy hat. So he's like, oh, like I'll give him like kind of a cowboy getup. It's like, that's not an original thought, Ken. Like,
yeah,
it's not
but
hard
also
to do.
He's not part robot, so like,
yeah, like come on, it's so he's great.
Yeah, he's great. I love him. But then from the Missing Bit 6375, they timestamped to one of the many times where we said, "Are you enjoying this, audience?" And they just said yes. So thank you, Missing Bits. Glad to know you're enjoying it. Then from Sonic Foamy Fan 9805, have you ever realized the Moguls' new fearsome foursome all had M in their names? Miles, Mighty, Mina, and Maurice. And I gotta say, that is neat. I think you're kind of reaching for that last one though, bud.
It's Ian Flynn, so it's definitely a toss-up at least.
That's fair. Well, but Maurice isn't his first name; it's his middle name.
Oh yes, then yeah, that would be wrong. But the rest of them being M seems probably intentional, I would say. Like, or maybe not intentional, but like a fun, happy accident that Flynn has probably recognized.
For sure. Where do you stand on Ogilvy being Sonic's birth name? Do you think that's like when you read Archie, are you like, yeah, that's a motherfucking Ogilvy right there, or do you get?
I mean, if that were canon, that would be funny, but you know,
I think it's ultimately irrelevant because they literally say, they make sure to go out of their way to say that he had his name legally changed. Whatever his birth,
funny.
Yeah, whatever his birth name was, he clearly didn't care for it. So it's like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I don't mind it. Whatever. It's
Yeah.
Archie. It's weird.
It is weird, but and then I saved these last two for the end because they touch on similar subject matter from Phantom of the Night. This was on the episode where I did my long rant about Silver's characterization. For the Silver rant, from Phantom of the Night. On the Silver rant, there's a video by Fizzy Pop Peaches about the woobification. What is wooby? Do you know this, Ian? You're a bit more online than I am.
I do know that word. Just means to like make like a, just makes it, they're babyfied basically.
I see
what they're saying.
That's
what the insult means. Yeah.
What's wooby?
Wooby's from something. Like you're a wooby. I don't know what I forget what it means.
Okay. About woobification.
Sounds like something they call Carl. Fucking wooby.
Who's Carl?
Carl from Jimmy Neutron.
I never watched that show.
Gotcha. Okay.
About woobification in Silver is the very first character that's brought up. It essentially goes over why the perception of Silver through memes and fandom have warped his character from being noble, naive, and inexperienced to an overly infantilized nerd. Essentially, the problem you stated earlier that you had with Tangle is what problem people have with Silver. Also, note that there's been a much more noticeable split between how certain regions are characterized between certain characters are characterized between regions. Amy is one of the biggest unknown offenders, but I'm not exactly sure where Silver places. And then similarly, Spinball Productions 9678 left a long comment. I will not read it all out here. I respect that they wrote like a mini essay in here, but again, probably not. My voice will give out. But I did read it all, and they brought up a lot of interesting stuff. They brought up some stuff I didn't know about, like Silver's Japanese characterization, and how apparently over there, a big trait of Silver is that he comes across as rude because he's typically very rude to people.
That's fun. He probably doesn't like use honorifics or anything, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. And they talk about how Silver is portrayed typically as like crossing his legs, which isn't. They didn't really explain what the purpose that is, but I would imagine it's similar to over here, where men aren't typically depicted as crossing their legs. Yeah. And they talk about how basically they just refute some of the things that I said, where it's like, well, Silver, like because I talked about how 06 Silver is also kind of a dork. It's just that everyone's kind of muted in that game, so it maybe doesn't come across as hard as it does later on. And they made a lot of interesting points that I'm butchering right now because I'm trying to summarize it. But basically, they talk about how I said something to the effect of like, do you want Silver to just be Shadow, and how that's maybe kind of a false dichotomy. And all this is to say, I think the thing with Silver's characterization, and I think the thing I was trying to get across, is that in internet conversations, oftentimes nuance is lost. And so while I'm sure not everyone is saying this, or they're not intending to say it, a lot of times it does just seem like people are saying like Silver was not any of these things before that they're making him be now. And a big thing I like about Silver as a character is that he's a bit like, I guess, softer, for lack of a better term. And so it doesn't bother me as much necessarily to see that maybe flanderized. And I wouldn't necessarily argue that it's been flanderized maybe in more recent years, because I still feel like that is at least sticking more true to the core of the character. Like, I don't read IDW Silver and say that's not Silver. I look at IDW Silver and maybe say like, oh, the story isn't serving Silver properly. Whereas I'll look at like IDW Shadow, IDW Sonic, and just go like, oh, those just aren't the characters. Those are unrecognizable from the characters I know and like. So I guess all this is to say that everyone has their own preferences and things that are important to them about certain characters, and that's pretty cool.
There you go.
But yeah, did I have any other comments? We've been doing it for a while because again, this is gonna bite me in the ass because we're gonna get into like a 40-minute conversation about like the depths of Fnac's soul or whatever. But yeah, okay. I think that's all the comments. So without any further ado, we can just hop right into IDW's Sonic the Hedgehog Fnac the Hunter #1. you feel? Have they explained? Is sniper just like too like? Do they just not want that word like in a thing for children about like? Is that like too like violent of a word? It's such a weird change.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
maybe that's the case, but yeah,
that's all I can assume. Is that's a gun? That's bad. Like,
yeah.
Actually, does Fnac use a gun at all in this 4-parter? I don't think he does. Usually uses guns. That's interesting. Sometimes he uses just real guns. It's wild. But anyway, I digress. We open this first issue. Well, before we open this first issue, an interesting thing that I only just noticed. So on the cover, cover's really cool, by the way. I don't know who did it. It says the pencils are done by Moro Fonseca. So I would assume they did the cover as well. It looks similar. You see the seven Chaos Emeralds in the background, and in the middle you see an interesting 8th thing that's like glowing white. What could that be? Ooh. But so we open the comic, and we see Team Hooligan are scoping out Sonic. He's sleeping in a little hammock, and they're like, "All right, boys, let's get him." And they try and get him. They get their asses kicked. And I gotta say, Sonic in this story is great. I really like him. He is just kind of an impatient child who is a danger to himself and others. And I greatly prefer that to him being a sociopath. Because I guess in this it comes across more as like cute. I guess the best way I could
probably just the tone.
There's the tone, yes. I think the best way I could explain it is like in Ben 10, how in season 1 he was like an impatient like douchebag, and it's like, well, he is 10 years old and he just started doing this. So like when he learns a lesson, you like it's like, oh, that's a cool lesson that he just learned, or like, oh, it makes sense that he's doing this. And then you go to like Ben 10 Omniverse, and it's like what is this? Like, anyway, point is, yeah, I like Sonic in this. So he beats up all the hooligans. And then Fnac is like, well, actually, we just needed to talk to you because we are tracking down the 8th Chaos Emerald. What?
Whoa.
And I gotta say, I did not see where this was going when he mentioned this. I was genuinely like, is there gonna be an 8th Chaos Emerald? Like,
yeah.
Because I mean, I feel like I would have heard about it because that's a big lore thing. But I don't know, this mystery that they set up here genuinely intrigued me a bit.
Heck yeah.
So he's talking about it, and he's like, and Sonic's like, there is not an 8th Chaos Emerald. What the fuck are you talking about?
He's like deathly serious about it, or not deathly, but he's just like, dude.
I like the line where he goes, "There are 7. I know. I found them all repeatedly." And then at some point, Bean is upside down, and they do the upside down word bubble thing they did with him in Reboot. And I was like, oh no, not again. Especially because I was reading this digitally, so I can't like if I turn it upside down, it fixes itself. So I had to like tilt my head awkwardly. It was terrible. Although Bean is interesting in this, we'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, so Sonic's like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I can't help you with that. Go away. So then they leave, and they're like, fine, well, we'll go talk to Knuckles. And what's interesting is that, so obviously this story is about the hooligans, but Sonic and Tails do have like their own little side story in this.
Yeah,
and
plot.
Yeah, and it's great because Sonic's like, all right, I'm gonna kick back and relax. Then Tails shows up. He's like, yeah, we gotta go do something. And Sonic has a line where he just goes, be patient with him. He's your friend. And Tails is like, oh, we detected a thing. We got to go. And at first I was like, oh, is this meant to be like the plot of Sonic? I don't know. Blast. I was trying to think of
it. Triple Trouble.
Yeah. Like, is this just like, hey, let's cement this somewhere in the timeline. But we'll see later. It does cement itself in the timeline. So we'll pick up on that in a second. And so Tails is like, hey, there's a big battleship that's been vanishing and appearing. And Sonic's like, oh, let's go do that. Meanwhile, the hooligans, they go to Angel Island. At some point, the hooligans, they're talking about what they would want to do with the money. Bark doesn't say anything because he doesn't talk. And Fnac says he would want to like upgrade his bike. Like they're gonna sell the emerald off and upgrade his bike. And Bean is like, I want a soccer ball. And Sonic's like, that's it. And he goes, I want a premium soccer ball. And I will say, it's interesting in this. Bean is a lot more like cogent than
he's like the straight man, actually.
He is.
Like,
and you know what? I don't mind it.
Yeah, like it threw me off guard, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, like he still has like his funny lines. I don't know. Here's the thing. I think the shtick of like everything he says is complete and utter nonsense. First of all, I don't think that would work when he's like a main character, like a supporting character throughout the whole book.
Yeah, for sure. I think especially when the other character's mute.
Yeah, I think that would get exhausting very quickly. Yeah, I don't know. I did like him in this though. I guess he's almost being like reverse Flanderized in a way where he like starts as the most heightened version of himself and like takes a chill pill.
Yeah, it's really funny.
That's funny. But also just a note I put because I guess I don't know what the Sega stance on this is. But Sonic, when he's talking to Tails, he says like, oh, something up with Eggman. Shouldn't he still be Robotnik at this point?
Well, they don't use Robotnik.
Well, but it's been pretty firmly cemented in canon that he was called Robotnik, and that Eggman is like what Sonic called him to make fun of him until Eggman started calling himself that.
Not anymore.
No, in Sonic Frontiers. No. In Sonic Frontiers, you get the what? No. Ian.
I'm just telling you.
No, you can't tell me that. That was 3 years ago in the last AAA like mainline game they released. No. AA, regardless. Like, don't know me, Ian.
You don't know me.
But anyway, fine, whatever. What was oh, and then Bean and Bark are basically like, we're sick of your shit, Fnac. But then Fnac is like, oh, well, don't you guys want to help me out? And they're like, I'm trying to remember like how exactly he does. He's basically like, okay, we'll do it one more time so we can, get the emerald and,
Oh yeah, and then Bean is like, okay, like we see where this is going, but sure, it'll be a good laugh. Let's follow. Let's see what happens.
For sure. And so they're like, okay, and I was happy because I was worried for a second that the hooligans were gonna like leave and that this was just gonna be like Fnac on his own, which would be lame, but that doesn't happen, so that's nice.
Yeah.
And then so I like to mention they get to Angel Island and they see the Master Emerald and they're like, the one time that we're not like just here trying to steal it is when he's not here. Like, though it's funny, I think well, I'm not going to say I think because again, Bark doesn't talk. Bean goes like, oh, we should steal the Master Emerald. He's like, no, eyes on the prize. We should get the 8th one. It's like, what's it matter? Like, it's just, It's right there.
He's got a duty. I do think that's I do like this little miniseries, and I think one of the things it does well is just kind of like, I think Flynn once said, and it's always will stick with me, is he says, Knack the Weasel is a character who would come third in a 2-man race. And I think that like really like he does a good job of cementing that in this, of like he is competent in certain things, right? But he just always gets in his head about like one thing he wants, and he's like, no, we have to stay on track. We can't fuck this up, and then just ends up fucking things up. So
yeah,
it's pretty fun. So
well, but I would say what I like about it is that like Fnac in this, he's definitely goofy. He's definitely a bit of a butt monkey at times, but he's never portrayed as incompetent. Like,
yeah.
Well, actually, yeah. Let's put a pin in that until next issue because I think that one kind of portrays it the best. But yeah, they go around Angel Island and they're like, oh, Knuckles laid some traps for them, so Bean and Bark get kidnapped, and Fnac is like, fuck, okay, so we gotta go deal with that. And then just a little note in the back of the book, there's like some fan art. And Billy Kay drew like a Sad AM style Sonic and Fnac. That's just cool. I like that.
Ooh. And it's very clearly like the Sad AM style?
It's very clearly, or I guess, yeah, it's very clearly like that animated, I guess you could all say Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog like style, where he's got like the
cool. The editor was like, we can sneak in some Archie here.
For sure. But yeah, overall, pretty strong start. So then we can move on to, if it would load, we can move on to IDW's Sonic the Hedgehog Fnac the Hunter #2. I gotta say, for starters, love this cover.
Oh yeah, all the covers are pretty fun.
The covers are all fun. I don't know. I like Fnac's posing here. I don't know. It's just really cool. And I think the thing I like most about this issue, I think this issue is probably portrays it the best, is again, we see here that Fnac, he's pretty good at his job. Like, he lays a trap for Knuckles and he executes it pretty well, and him and Knuckles kind of like it. Remember that reboot story where he fights Knuckles and he just like gets one-shotted? Yeah, but in this, like, he's able to be on pretty even footing with Knuckles because he has like his cunning. And I think that's pretty cool. There's not much to really say about it, without just going like scene by scene. But so I guess I don't know. but So then we cut over to Sonic and Tails, and they're stalking the Ghost Battleship. And it just goes like and just disappears. And we see kind of the start of Sonic being, again, like an impatient child in this, where he's like, "Oh, this is stupid and I hate it. Like we were supposed to go take down that battleship." And Tails is like, "All right, I'll find where it is." And Sonic's like, "All right, chop chop." Then we get back to Fnac and Knuckles, and they tussle a bit, and they end up going to where Bean and Bark are. And he's like, one thing that they do in this that's like a new character trait for Fnac and IDW is that he calls everyone mooks. He goes like he's like Scarf Mook and Bomb Mook are what he calls Bean and Bark. And he goes like, "Oh, how could you mooks let yourselves get taken? Like, I had to go through a lot to get here." And before he says that, Bean goes, "Hooray, he found us!" And after that, he goes, "Hooray, he found us!"
Hooray, he found us!
Yeah, it's fun. But then again, Fnac more or less like wins this encounter. Like, I guess you could argue Knuckles could probably take all three of them, but basically he sets it up so that way like his friends, quote unquote, are able to get freed, so that way they can surround him. Fnac's like, "Look, man, I don't want to fight. I just want the 8th Chaos Emerald." And Knuckles is like, "You mean the Master Emerald?" And he's like, "No."
Oh yeah, the joke is really good too, where it's like he's like 7 and he starts counting and he's like, "What would be the?" And then he thinks that he's like, "You were trying to trick me."
Yeah. And so he's like, "No, it says the Master Emerald's its name. I'm talking about the 8th Chaos Emerald." And I guess something important I should say, because it'll become important later, is people keep going like, "Okay, well, what color is it?" He goes, "Oh, it's like orange or gold or maybe rainbowy." And people are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, and every time he does this, it's like a reference to a different version of Sonic lore.
What?
Yeah, so like the Sonic the Fighters has like one, and that's why he says like, I think it's orange or whatever. And then I think the idea of, I think one of them he says is like, "Oh, I think like they're all one emerald, like they're all combined or something like that," and that's a reference to the movie. One of them's like rainbow colored, and I think that's a reference to something. Like, anytime he gives like these weird explanations, it's just like other weird emeralds like that have been in the series, basically, I guess is the idea.
Yeah, I thought the rainbow he was throwing me off, but the first two I definitely thought were references to what the 8th emerald ultimately ends up being. But fuck me, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so then he's like, "Look, I don't know shit about shit. So leave." And so Fnac's like, okay. I know things seem bad, but first of all, if you try to leave, I'll kill you. Second,
here we go.
Second of all, okay, I do know about like this island that has some stuff that might be related to it. It's like an old Eggman base, so we can go there and figure it out. Is this island a reference to something? It doesn't.
I think this is from Knuckles Chaotix, because that's why that has like the crane.
That makes sense. I've never played Knuckles Chaotix. Have you played Knuckles Chaotix?
No, but everything I've seen of it looks like a nightmare. But it seems like one of those things where it's like if you grew up with it and or like you're willing to engage with its weird eccentricities, it could be fun. But even then, probably not that fun.
I bet some fan is working on like Knuckles Chaotix, like that Triple Trouble remake someone did, where it's like, hey, it's Triple Trouble but good. Like I bet someone's doing that for Knuckles.
I would
Chaotix.
love that.
It would be great, but yeah. But so they go there, and then it's kind of sweet because throughout the story, Fnac like talks to his bike, and he's like, "Oh, you're a good girl. Like that mean old guardian banged you up real bad." And then he's like, "Oh, well, maybe when I get the Chaos Emerald, I'll just put it right in my bike." And the other hooligans are like, how would we get our cut then?" So that's fun. And then he's looking at the thing. And it's a pretty good joke where he's looking at like the monitors and he's trying to find stuff. And he's like, all I see is images of stuff flooding as the room they're in is flooding.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And then who shows up but Dr. Not Robotnik,
Octavius.
Apparently. For sure. Not Robotnik, apparently, but Eggman.
Yes.
Fucking, I hate that. I hate that so much. Like,
not allowed.
Just call him, but they did it in the game.
Well, this is a comic, and we still don't have Sage, so
that's you know what? That's fair. Okay, hold on. All right, so then we get to Sonic the Hedgehog Fnac the Hunter number 3. I gotta say, not a big fan of the logo for that they have like at the bottom because it's just his name, but like with a tooth in it. Like I get what they're going for, but it's just like we took the logo and we were just like, we just stuck that in there. Like it doesn't feel like it flows properly with everything else.
Yeah.
But what do I know? I am not a graphics design expert. So, Ian, what do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. We all know Ian's a graphic design expert, so it's got his approval.
Absolutely.
But so Eggman's got them in like a pod or whatever. I'm sure this pod design is a reference to something because it looks pretty unique. And Eggman's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he's like, "Okay, we were looking for the 8th Chaos Emerald." And Eggman's like, "Wait, there's an 8th Chaos Emerald?" And he's
awesome.
like, and he goes like, "I will say it's a bit out of character." The first thing maybe it's not. I don't know. The first thing he asks is, "What color is this one?" And Fnac does it could be orange or gold or rainbow. And as the more that he's going about describing like the information he has about the 8th Chaos Emerald, like it starts with Eggman's like got this visualization of the emeralds, and then they get just like sketchier and sketchier as Fnac goes like, because the last thing he goes is, "Where did you hear about it?" And Fnac goes, "Oh, from a guy."
Yeah.
Which is great. And basically, Eggman's like, "All right, fine. Find the 8th. If you find the 8th Chaos Emerald and bring it to me. And also, I forget exactly because basically the hard-boiled heavies have been rebelling against him. They've got like a battleship that they've been. The ghost ship is the hard-boiled heavies. They're rebelling against Eggman. That's the plot. And somehow it's related to the 8th Chaos Emerald. So basically, it's like, hey, you're gonna go deal with that, and if you find the 8th Chaos Emerald, bring it to me. Is the gist of it. And Fnac's like, and I will say, there's a fun line where Fnac goes, "I don't do favors. I'm a professional. You want my skills, you hire me." And Eggman opens a piranha tank under them. And he's like, well, I'm,
sorry, real quick. So it says here, the rumored 8th Emerald is either orange or gold, which are 2 colors used in Sonic the Fighters. And then Fang mentions one's rainbowy. This could be a reference to Hypersonic, it says, or the Rainbow Gem from Sonic 06, which allowed you to turn supersonic. And then it says, one of Fang's sources says the emeralds are inside the 8th Emerald, which is similar to the Master Emerald's depiction in Sonic Movie 2 and 3, where the emeralds are inside the Master Emerald. And then he says, Master Emerald, blah, 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 which are later freed from Master Emerald. This is also an intro to the Sonic Blast, where a multi-colored emerald is shown shattering into 5 smaller emeralds or different colors. So yeah, they're all references to stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Man, that Rainbow Gem thing for Sonic 06 is weird because it's like,
how does it work?
Yeah, like it's one of those things where it's like I don't. So like, first of all, would it have just been for Sonic? But because like the other 2 also have super forms, and then it's like, well, but the problem with Supersonic is that like you have to build the levels to work with both Supersonic and regular Sonic, but like there's nowhere in this game where it feels like that would fit in. Like,
yeah, my guess is that it's a situation where someone just learned that. Like, it's probably real, but it's probably like early design. Like, we haven't even like built the game fully. Like, yeah, let's have a gym that makes you go super, and then
yeah, for sure. It's just one of those things where it's like I work in the computer science field, but I have no idea how game design works. But it's like that, and they say like, oh, Silver was supposed to get an upgrade that made him run faster, and it's like, but they didn't have time to put it in the game. It's like, how did they not? How does that? Okay, like,
yeah.
I digress. But yeah, basically, he's like, go get my battleship for me, and they're like, all right, let's go. And then we cut to Tails' workshop, where Sonic's being a impatient little brat. It's fun. I love him. And again, we get a bit where Fnac is competent, where he's basically like tracked the movements of the battleship, and so they're just like staring at nothing, and he's like, it's gonna show up right about, and then it appears. So that's cool. I guess you couldn't really do this story if Fnac just sucked. Like,
yes.
I guess you could. It could have been like an Inspector Gadget-esque situation. But I think what they do here is more compelling, where it's like he is good at his job. He's just also like a bit of a goof, which I think works. But so they get on the ship, and it's funny because basically Bean's like, oh well, we found it. Let's go talk to the robots. And Fnac's like, they obviously betrayed him. Like we can't just talk to them. So they go. We get the classic thing that's been in all of the kind of classic Sonic stories, Sonic comics from IDW, where we get the 4-page or the 4 panels of them like doing like a little side scrolly thing. And what I only just now noticed is that throughout this, you can see a heavy shinobi in the background, like spying on them. I only because like when I first read this, I noticed him on the side. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And I was looking for like the other heavies, like in the first 3, to see if they were like sprinkling them throughout. But no, that's cool. I like that. But then they get to the orb that's supposed to have the 8th Chaos Emerald, and they have what's this one called? Is it Heavy Rider?
I think so.
Yeah, they have Heavy Rider shows up. And again, another thing I just like is first of all, I like it because Fnac calls the two of them like by their actual names, whereas he has not throughout most of the story. And also it kind of shows their team coordination, where he goes Bean, Ball, Bark, Bot, me, Bug. Like, I should also say for the record, I've mentioned this in previous episodes, but whenever I read Fnac, I read him with a thick Southern accent, so that's fun. Yeah, so they beat Heavy Rider, and they open up the thing, and they're like, "All right, time to get the 8th Chaos Emerald." But wait, what is it? What is it, Ian?
It's the Phantom Ruby.
No, what?
It's the quartz thing, right?
The Warp Topaz.
Sorry, my favorite character used it, so I forgot.
That's fair. So I will say I genuinely didn't see this coming. This twist. But also because the Warp Topaz is gold with an orange swirl on it, so I really thought that was. Man.
I mean, like, I think it works both ways.
Yeah,
is the idea.
But so he's like, what is this? Then the Heavy King shows up, and he's like, well, you're gonna give us that, and we're gonna kill you. And he's like, or we could both betray Eggman, and we could be super cool. And he's like, or I could just kill you anyway. And they're like, yeah, that's a fair point. They also mention a detail that I always forget about the Warp Topaz, that like it's just a rock, but you need so you gotta like plug it into like a battery for it to work, which is cool. It's an interesting thing that kind of differentiates it from the other magic rocks in Sonic. I will say, so the canon or the timeline of this is interesting because we know where the Warp Topaz came from. Like, we know that Starlin found it in that weird spirally place in the cave.
Yeah, so I think it's supposed to take place after the 900th issue. Like it got teleported to another world is the idea.
What?
You know, the 900th issue where they slab it back into the wall.
Yeah. So this is supposed. So you're saying that after the 900th issue, the warp topaz came here?
Yeah, I think that's the idea.
But this is the past.
No, it's an alternate universe.
No, it's not, because we'll just say it now. This whole story is meant to be a prelude to Sonic Superstars, and in the Tales tube before Sonic Superstars, they say, "Hey, remember back when we went to that island and we met Trip?" Firmly cementing it as their past selves.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I'm glad you're so enraptured by this, Ian. So, I mean, here's the thing, audience. I didn't finish Sonic Superstars because it was very bad. So I don't know what happens to the warp topaz at the end of that game, but I guess we just have to believe that it ended up in that spirally place and that what's his fucking name? What's his name, Ian? You like him? Not Snively, the duck-billed guy.
No, I hate that guy.
Holy fuck! What's his name?
Starline.
Thank you. Holy shit! I feel like I said his name like 2 minutes ago, and I forgot it.
Crazy.
He found it from there. I digress. But anyway, yeah, the issue 4, they're surrounded, and so they start fighting. They sure are fighting. I have no notes for this issue. I have let me check how many notes I have for this whole miniseries. Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And my only note for issue 4 is, yep. So, fun series. Not a lot to chew on in terms of characterization or whatever. So that's usually where most of my notes come from.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they fight, and Sonic and Tails show up on the battleship, and Sonic's like, "Where are all the robots?" And Tails is like, "I guess they're preoccupied." I guess a cool thing you can note is that all the heavies use their powers from the games or game, because they for some reason never made a sequel to Sonic Mania, so the one game where they showed up. It is, what? It's kind of weird that they weren't in Superstars. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, you'd think they'd be the new guys that Sega wants to use, but it's really just classic IDW that does.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, it's cool to see them come back. It's cool to see there be a rogues gallery, if nothing else. Also, okay, Ian, I want to know your thoughts on this. Heavy Magician is explicitly stated to be female.
Yeah.
Are the bumpers meant to be breasts?
They are now.
Because my thing is they're a little too low, but also the fact that she's meant to be the girl makes them suspicious.
I see you, Japan, and I respect it.
No, it wasn't made by Japan though.
I see you, T-Lopes. You designed it, right?
No, Christian Whitehead. That's the guy. That's the one. Okay. Anyway, and then Fnac, he gets put in a block like you do in the boss fight. But anyway, so it's cool. Fnac takes the sword. He freezes Heavy Shinobi. He makes love to his bike real quick, and then it's actually pretty cool. He puts the warp topaz in the bike. And then he's teleporting around. Bark is a badass in this, I will say. He fist fights the Heavy King for the whole issue. And then the other hooligans show up and they get him, and they they warp away with the warp topaz. And it's fun. So basically, I guess Sonic and Tails' plot in this is, I guess they're kind of doing the thing that a lot of prequels do. Shit. My headphone fell out. I guess they're doing the thing a lot of prequels do, where it's oh yeah, the main character was there, but they just happen to be conveniently placed at all times to not see the thing they're not supposed to know about yet.
So that's just kind of funny.
Yeah. But so basically the idea is Sonic is just one step behind on being on a cool adventure for this entire thing. And Tails is well, I could set this whole thing to explode so we'd only have a few minutes to escape. And Sonic's oh, that's, you're a great friend, man.
You're a great friend. I've already told you I like you a lot.
Yeah. But so, the whole place like goes up in flames and crashes into the water. And the Heavy King calls Eggman and is like, "Hey, can you come help us?" And Eggman's like, "Yeah, I'll do that as soon. I'll help you as quickly as you return to the base."
Yeah.
So maybe they die here is the implication, I guess. Because like I don't know, I don't know if they've released any classic stories since this, but what's weird? Didn't they do that one story where like the hard-boiled heavies were like trying super hard to celebrate Eggman's birthday?
Yeah.
Why'd they become such assholes?
Cause I don't know.
Funniest thing that's ever happened. Anyway,
I like to think that was my most adorable moment.
it was. But, anyway, so Fnac and the hooligans they go to the fly down the island, and Bean and Bark are like, "You suck, and we hate you, and we're leaving." And so we find out that little sidecars on the sides of the Marvelous Queen could just like fly away at any time, and so they just leave. And so it's interesting. I should say that last issue, they say that like, "Oh, we were instructed to report to Eggman if we found any like powerful gems, but because the warp topaz requires a power supply, is definitionally not powerful. Therefore, we didn't have to tell him about it." And Fnac's like, semantics. I respect it. Similarly,
Yes.
Eggman calls him here, and he goes like, "Yeah," and Fnac goes like, "Oh yeah, your hard-boiled heavies went rogue," and Eggman's like, "Yeah, I figured. Well, what about like the emerald, or like, did you find anything?" And he's like, "Nope. Turns out the whole thing was fake." Eggman explicitly asks, "What about the 8th emerald?" Fnac's like, "Yeah, nope, it was fake. It wasn't real." And Eggman's like, "Well, that sounds like bullshit to me." And Fnac says, "It is 100% true that there was no emerald there," which is fun. And Eggman's like, "All right, fine. I got a new job for you, and I'll pay you this time." And Fnac's like, "All right, let's fucking go.
Let's go."
To be continued in Sonic Superstars.
Where he bullies a child. Let's go.
Pardon?
Where he bullies a child.
He does. So if you want to hurt yourself, you can go play that game.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Sonic Superstars?
I did, and I legitimately almost fell asleep while on a car ride playing it. So I was like, "Well, not playing this anymore."
Man, we've never talked about it on the show. I guess I might as well. We're still under an hour, so I guess I'll say this story real quick. So, of course, Sonic Superstars had to come out like legit 4 days before Spider-Man 2 came out. And so I was like, "Oh, it's a classic Sonic game. It's obviously like a newer one, so it'll probably be a little longer, but I imagine it'll probably be like Mania-esque, so it'll probably only take a couple days to beat." So, I'll pick that up. I'll blitz through that before Spider-Man. Then I'll play Spider-Man. After I'm done with that, I'll come back and I'll do like, the extra stuff for this. Well, then I played Superstars, and it was such a miserable experience. And I was like, first of all, I was like, well, there's no way I beat this before Spider-Man 2, because every single thing in that game is tailor-made to waste your time.
Yeah.
I was like, well, there's no way I beat this before Spider-Man 2. So like, I get, and like this is miserable. This is a miserable experience. But like, whatever, maybe I'll come back to it after I play Spider-Man. Like maybe the reason I feel like I'm having issues with this game is just because like I feel like I'm on like a time crunch to beat it. But then all I saw were people saying like, "Oh, you know how like the game is really frustrating for like most of its runtime? Yeah, the stuff at the end, like at the end of Trip's story and the final boss, are even worse." And so it's like, well, what? Why the fuck would I like? Look, I am a crazy Sonic fan. I've been a bit of a completionist in the past, but it's like, what? We only have so much time on this earth. Like, like, why would I willingly subject myself to this for no other reason other than to say like I did it? And you know what? No one cares if I did it. So
Yeah.
so it's still just sitting in my Steam library mocking me. But like, so yeah, bad game. Don't like it. But unlike that, this comic pretty fun. Again, nothing groundbreaking, but it's cool. I really enjoyed it. I think the interesting thing about this, and something that I would almost I'm trying to figure out the proper way to phrase this. Like, okay. So this is very much just kind of like a fun side story, like I guess filler kind of arc is the best way I could put it. Like there's nothing like, so it would be fun. So it would be more fun if there was like this, and then you had like a main comic where you had like a compelling narrative that you could follow, where like you had stuff going on. The problem is we don't. So like I'm just like, I don't know, because I'm trying to think about like, okay, well, what would I say about this in terms of like, this is not the first time we've read like a side story and been like, oh yeah, IDW Sonic is pretty good actually sometimes. So I'm trying to think about like what would be the lesson here to like take and transplant into the main book, and maybe there isn't one. I don't know. I don't know.
Good night, everybody.
No. Well,
no,
yeah.
I mean, I agree. It's so it's funny you didn't read this when it came out, right?
No.
Okay, so that makes it really funny what you said, because you said like, oh man, wouldn't it be great if there was like a main book that was going on that was like compelling and cool? Well, if you didn't know, when this was coming out, this was the only book. They put IDW's main book on hold for 4 months for this.
What?
And it was miserable because every month it's just Fnac doing nothing and gaining nothing, and then they tell you to go buy a video game with your money. So when I read this, I fucking hated it. I thought it was the most dreadful, boring thing ever, and it felt insulting that this was the main book for 4 months out of the start. It started in January, so it was like the start of our year, 2024 or whatever. You just don't get a main Sonic book because we just can't print both at the same time because we're poor. So I really did not like this story. But now that it's like time's passed and like, you know, it's not week to week anymore, I actually do quite like this story. I think it is very cute and fun. I think Fnac comes out looking quite good in terms of his characterization. Like, he's just a fun character to be around. Bean, I got used to his kind of like straight man shtick. Bart gets some cool moments, and the art's quite good as for outside of like a few pages where I think like the paneling's really weird and kind of like doesn't convey what it's trying to do. So yeah, like I quite enjoyed it. It's not like amazing or anything, but like whenever I say like IDW kind of fails to be cute sometimes, this is where the classics are usually where I think it does it right, where it's like you read this and you're just like, yeah, that was fun, and not even like a dismissive way, but just like, yeah, that was cute, you know. Like if I go back to the classic series, I'll definitely reread this as well, you know, because I enjoyed it. So I enjoyed the story. So
I'm just still so like, wait, so because Bad Guys came out concurrently with the main book.
Yep.
Tangle and Whisper came out concurrently with the main book.
Yep.
Scrapneck Island came out concurrent with the main book.
Yep.
What changed?
We're poor.
But they were more poor back then.
I don't know. Yeah,
Or,
it was
well,
it was insane.
Well, Sega's less poor. Like Sonic is less poor, but I guess IDW lost the Transformers license, so maybe.
Well, I mean, IDW. I think like people working on it have said like, guys, the reason you don't get like a Sonic Universe equivalent is because like IDW just can't afford it. You know.
That's. Whew, damn. Support your local comic shop, guys. My lord. But yeah, I don't know. I think the best way I could. I don't know. I want to have something constructive to say, but whenever, okay, I guess I'll say the thought in my head, and we can we can decide whether or not I'm a dumbass and if it makes any sense. So, like, hey, here's a fun thing I didn't ever talk about. So, Sailor Moon, the '90s Sailor Moon anime is very episodic. It's 90% filler episodes, quote unquote, and 10% really important shit, right? And in those episodic episodes, it's very much like, oh no, we're fighting a cake monster or whatever. And that's kind of what this is. This is like a cake monster episode where it's like, our heroes are just doing a wacky side adventure, right? And naturally, but the reason that show, in my opinion, works is you build upon all of those wacky side stories where you're fighting cake monsters. And then when you get to that 10% that really matters, you understand all the characters and you understand what it's all been building to because you have that 90% you're building upon. And so what I think is interesting about this, and when you look at this, and when you look at the main book, is that I think that some marriage of the two, where you've got like stories like this, and then you build up to, I don't know, like a whatever big plot that you would have brewing in the background would be interesting. Yeah. But then I think about the main book, and is that not just kind of what the main book is already? Like, yeah, I guess the difference being that I was gonna say maybe the difference being that the characters are less compelling, but like I wouldn't call the characters in this compelling. I would call them fun. I would call them entertaining. I don't know. Maybe there's no lesson from this.
Maybe there's no lesson. Just good for Fnac.
Yeah,
and good for you that you kept the bit going the entire time. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, Fnac forever. But yeah. Well,
also, I want to get the audience in on this joke because I think it'll be a good thing. Silver Ace, have you not noticed what the title of our little chat has been this whole time?
It's Fnac.
Yeah, like fuck.
You damn it, Ian. Well, because I saw it.
Waffles. You can find.
No, you fucking piece of shit. Hold on, because like I saw it and I was like, oh, haha, that's funny because it's like fuck. And then we did this whole episode, and you were like, Ace, have you seen the title of this? And I was like, oh, is this like a deeper reference that I wasn't understanding? And then what are we talking about next, Ian?
I don't know. What do we need to read another past Archie story? I forget where we're at. Actually we're supposed to go back to the main book, I would assume, right? We haven't done that in a while.
No, we did the main book, and then we did Universe, and now we're doing this. So
do we want to go back to a classic Archie story?
Sure. You got any ideas?
We could do Return to Angel Island. That'd be kind of fun. Oh wait, we already did that.
Not only did we do that, that wasn't even a throwback one. That was a part of our main programming.
That's true. Man, good times. I don't know.
Hold on. Let me. I have a list. Are
you enjoying this, audience?
Okay. We did Heart Held Hostage and Sonic Wedge 215. We did Mecha Madness. We did some of Knuckles. We didn't do the original Knuckles story. What's Sonic Quest?
That's a little mini series.
I have Sonic Quest written here. Is that anything?
I think that's the one where they do the Death Egg.
Should we do that?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay.
All right, we'll do Sonic Quest next.
All right, everyone go. That's your homework for next time. Go read Sonic Quest. But until then, Ian, plug.
I'm Ian Waffles. You can find me on Twitter and YouTube. And thanks for having me as always, the Silver Ace.
Of course. I'm Source1. You can find me on here. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at the same name. And I'm going to take a moment to plug something that I don't think I ever have on this show. Because we oftentimes get... I should probably do this at the start of an episode, but you know what? Maybe I'll do that next time. Because a lot of times we will get comments from people being like, oh, I really love your guys' rapport. And it's like, if you do... There's a lot more of it. So, there's a playlist on the channel of Sonic Comic Chaos. We've talked about more or less every Sonic game that's come out in the 3-ish years we've been doing this. So, there's back catalog if you want more Ian and Ace goodness. So go, my minions. Until then, take care, everyone.
Bye.